So can you tell me about your profile? What is your experience and hands-on?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, total I have 5.5 years of experience as of now, and completely in automation, manual plus automation. I'm doing manual as well as automation because in previous organization also I was doing manual plus automation, and in this also the project I'm working, that is also manual plus automation I'm working.
So automation, which tools do you use?
For automation, I'm using Selenium plus Java, ma'am. Selenium Web Driver.
Okay, and which framework it is on?
Framework is, ma'am, hybrid framework I'm using.
Okay, do you use Cucumber or TestNg? Which one do you use?
TestNg, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. How do you rate yourself on a scale of 5? How do you rate yourself with respect to Java and with respect to Selenium?
For Java, I'll rate myself as a 4, ma'am, and Selenium also I'll rate myself 4, ma'am.
Okay.
Out of 5, ma'am.
Out of 5, you have 5 years of experience in automation.
Yes.
Automation as well. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So typically in a day, how much percentage you work on manual and how much percentage you work on automation?
Actually, first when project starts, we have to understand the requirements, all the requirements of the projects using documents like FRS, SRS. And first, after the understanding, we start the manual testing. And after the first cycle or 1 or 2 cycles manual testing, once the application is little bit stable, we start the automation scripting, and then we automate the functional test cases. Once the application is little.
How do you choose which functional test cases to automate, or do you automate all the functional test cases? How is it?
We automate all the functional test cases, major functional test cases that will contribute to in manual testing as well, that we choose.
Okay. So who approves or who selects which test case to automate and which test case not to automate?
Actually, yes, we select only, and we approve with our lead or product manager.
Okay. Yeah. So what are the criteria that you see while selecting if you want to understand if the particular test case is good for automation or not? What are the criteria that you generally
criteria check? Like the critical functionalities and the test cases which takes more time to test manually. That test cases we took first to automate, so that our time will be saved.
Okay. I have a very kind of a functionality, lot of fields to enter data. I need to enter data in lot of fields.
Right.
Okay, multiple screens are there.
Okay.
But thing is, I might need to fill in. I need to run the execution for 2 or 3 times. So is it a good candidate for automation or is it good candidate for manual?
It is good for automation, ma'am.
Okay.
Multiple times we have to do that thing, then we can go for automation. But if we want to check the validations for field by field, then first we have to check the validation manually, and then we can go for the automation.
Okay, so yours is a waterfall model, or which model is that?
Framework, ma'am.
The model, waterfall model or agile framework?
Yes, agile framework.
It's agile. Okay, yes. So how long is your sprint?
It is, ma'am, 2 to 4 weeks, ma'am.
2 to 4 weeks, do you mean that it will keep changing every sprint?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. According to the requirements, usually it is between 2 to 4 weeks. Ma'am. Sometimes it's 3 weeks, sometimes it's 4 weeks.
Okay, based upon the deliverables and requirements.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you do it? Like the development and testing both happens in the same sprint or 2 different sprints?
No, same. Everything is happening in the same sprint. Yes. Parallelly, we work within this sprint one.
Okay, so do you find any challenge having the development and also testing in the same sprint?
Challenges like, ma'am, sometimes we when the development start, then we actually understand the requirement better. But sometimes development took the more time, and that time we don't have anything to test. So this is one thing that I faced, ma'am.
Okay, so have you ever suggested any alternates for this particular issue?
No, ma'am. I haven't.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you had enough time, even if you are not able to Sorry, yeah. So even if you're getting the delivery at the later stage of the sprint and you have a little less time to
Yes,
finish the
ma'am.
testing, how did you manage in that situation?
Actually, we cover all our test cases, whatever we have to pass or we have to execute. But sometimes, if it is not covered in, if we think it is not covered in sprint, then we actually increase our resources. Like that, we manage our things.
But you try to complete it within the same
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. ठीक है. So TestNg, Maven, Eclipse, and IntelliJ. You use both the IDEs.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And for version controlling, you use GitLab.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. You use Bugzilla for defect management too?
Yes, ma'am. We are using Bugzilla.
And what is Jira used for?
Jira is actually sometime Bugzilla. I have knowledge of Bugzilla, but it was in previous organization.
Okay.
Currently, we are using Jira.
So in Jira itself, what all? Can you just explain what is there in Jira? What all you do with Jira?
Jira, we have the test cases, all the test plans, and we execute all the test cases. And if we found any issue, then we raise through Jira only.
Okay, okay, okay. So can you explain me polymorphism?
Yes, ma'am. Random polymorphism is method overriding is called as a polymorphism, like implementing the superclass method in subclass with this same signature, like same return type, same parameter, same name is called as a runtime polymorphism. And in that we actually change the definition of the method, which is already implemented by the superclass.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is method overloading or method overriding?
Method overriding.
Okay. So what is method overloading?
Method overloading means, ma'am, multiple methods with multiple methods with same name but different in signature, like different in parameter and number of parameters.
So what is the advantage of the method of these two, method overloading and method overriding? What is the advantage?
In different classes we have different methods, and if any method is already defined, that definition we can change using method overriding, ma'am.
Yeah, but I can use a different name as well, right? What is the advantage of using the same name?
Because sometimes there is a public APIs classes, methods names are defined and we can't modify those name. So in that cases, if user don't want to modify the methods names, or some methods have to implement like the structure according to the programmer, in that case we override the method.
Okay. Okay. What is the constructor?
Constructor is a member method of the class, and it has the same name as a class name. It is used to initialize the variables of the class.
Okay, so what is the difference between a constructor and a method?
Constructor don't have any return type, and method have a return type. And constructor is when we create the object, constructor is invoked by default. Constructor is invoked, and whatever initialization we have implemented in constructor, it will be executed.
Okay, for example, if I don't define any constructor in my class, what will happen?
If we don't define, but default constructor will be called. If we don't provide any implementation for a default constructor, then it will not be executed. It will not execute.
What will not execute? I did not get you.
Default constructor is there in class. When we create the object of the class, default constructor will be called, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you know the difference between break and continue statements?
Yes, ma'am. Break statement we use usually in the switch, in our switch and in our loops. To break the cases of the switch, we use the break statement, and inside loop we use the break statement to break the loop. Like after executing the break, complete execution will be stopped there. The loop will be stopped there, and further execution will be started.
Okay, and what about continue?
Continue we use in a loop also, loop, and after execution of the continue statement, it will skip only current iteration of the loop, and it will execute further iterations of the loop.
Okay, so in my switch statement, what will happen if I don't give a break statement? I don't use a break statement. What will happen?
If we don't use the break statement, then it will first match the case, and after matching the case, it will execute that case as well as all the below cases will be executed if we don't use this break statement.
Okay, okay, okay. So can you just give me the syntax of a switch statement?
Yes, ma'am. In small letter we have to use switch, and then we have to use the condition like string or integer, and according to we will use the cases. And for case integer we are searching, or character we are using ch like a character. Then we are defining the cases for that. Okay. Case A, case B, case C, and according to the matching of the case, it will be executed.
Okay, and you know what exactly is the default case?
Yes, ma'am. If any case is not matching with our condition, then default case will be executed.
Okay, so can you explain me a try-catch block?
Yes, ma'am. Try-catch block is actually it is a exception handling, and the code might throw the exception that we put in our try block, and the in catch block we actually handle our exception.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If I have multiple exceptions, how can I handle them?
If we have the multiple exception, then we simply catch is to exception class only.
So I can catch multiple exceptions in the catch block.
Yes, ma'am. Exception is a super class of all the exception.
Correct. So I don't want to use exception class.
Okay.
Because I want to use specific exceptions.
Okay.
But multiple exceptions.
Yeah.
So in that case, how can I write it?
Then we can write multiple catches, ma'am.
Okay. And what is the use of finally block?
Finally block is it will be executed if it is exception or it is not exception, finally block will be executed.
Okay. And is it mandatory for me to give catch block, and is it mandatory to give finally block?
Yes, ma'am. Catch block is mandatory to catch the exception. Finally is not mandatory.
Okay. So can you explain me maps?
Yes, ma'am. Map is a key and value pair. We store key and values in map. And
okay.
Map is a.
Have you used maps in your project?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in which scenarios do you generally it's better to use maps?
Actually, we use a map to read the Excel data and store it in map. Like in Excel, we have username, password, and the like these things that we first we create data in test file like Excel, and after that we read that data and store it in our map.
Okay, can I have duplicate key values in a single map?
No, ma'am.
And duplicate values?
Duplicate values will be there.
Okay. And if at all, if it is not maps, which other collections do you use? If it's not map, I don't have a key value. I want a single collection.
Yeah, that I use the list and set, ma'am.
Okay. So in which case you use list and which case to use sets?
List I use there is one method driver dot find elements. Using that we will get all the elements which will be matched to our locator that we have passed. In that case it will return the list of the web element. In that case I have used list, and set I have used to handle the multiple windows. There is a method like find driver dot get window handles. So it will return the set of the handles of the window. So in that case I have used the set.
Okay. So what is the advantage of set collection? What is its major feature of a set collection?
Set feature of set is it don't allow the duplicate values.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but there should be some unique. I can use list instead of set, right? So, what is the use of having set? A separate. How can we distinguish list, a normal list or array list or something, from a set? What extra functions do set provides to it?
Like extra function that we can use a iterator over a set, that is
Okay.
one function, and we can iterate the values of set. Also there is two classes like has set and a tree set that we can use. Yeah. And
Okay.
this,
So, how do you iterate a map? Elements in a map.
using there is a method map dot entries, and using the enhance for loop we iterate the map. There is a map dot entries method that will take the keys of the everything elements of the map, and after that according to the keys we'll fetch the data.
Okay, okay. Can you explain me super keyword and this keyword? Can you explain the difference between both?
Yes, ma'am. Super is denotes the super. Super is a method in inheritance. There is a super class and subclass. So super class is a class from which we derive the subclass, and this keyword denotes the current instance. And
Okay.
yeah, the denotes the current instance. It is used to invoke the current object, current method. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 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 Can you explain me difference between verify and assert?
Yes, ma'am. Using assert, if you use assert and if our assertion is failed, then our execution will be stopped and further execution will not be executed. And using verify, if our assertion is failed, then it will also continue the execution.
Okay. In TestNg, what are the options that we have? There are two different types of asserts, right? What are those two different types of asserts?
We have hard assert and soft assert, ma'am.
Yeah. So can you explain them?
Yes, ma'am. Like hard assert, if you use hard assert and if our assertion is failed, then just like I said, then further execution will not be happen. And in soft assert, further execution will be proceed in soft assert. And hard assert in hard assert we have predefined method like assert dot assert true, assert dot assert fail, and assert dot assert equals, assert dot assert not equals, assert dot fail. This method we have.
So in soft assert, it will continue even if something fails.
Yes.
But I want to know what and all got failed, right? Otherwise, what is the use of running the automation?
Right.
So how can I get all those errors?
Yes. At the end, we in soft assert, at the end we use one method like assert all, and after that, yes. So after execution, that we'll get the information like in console that what the asserts are failed.
Okay. Okay. I have a drop down. So what are the options that I have to fetch value from the drop down?
Okay. To handle the drop down in Selenium, we have the class select class, and it has some predefined methods to handle the drop down like select by value, select by index, and select by visible text. Using that, we handle the drop down. And if you want to get all the values, then we have a method like select dot get options. Using that, we'll get all the options of the drop.
Okay, and what if a value is already selected and I don't want to select it? So what method do I have to do it?
So value is if value is selected, then first we'll check that value is checked or not. There is a method is selected. Select dot is selected. It will return the boolean return. So it will return true or false. So if it is true, then we will not do anything. If it is false, then we'll select that option.
Okay, okay, and I have a field. I want, and there is some data that's already there in the field. I want to read that data. How can I do that?
So if there is a data in that field, then we'll find out that field, and then we'll use method like get text.
Okay. How do you identify elements? What are the options? What are the locators that Selenium provides us, and which one do you use in your project?
Locators provides Selenium are ID name, class ID name, the class name, and tag name. Then we have the partial link test, CSS selector, and XPath. These are the locators available. And usually I prefer the ID name and tag name because they are simple, the simple locators. If they are not working, then we go for the export or CSS selector.
Okay, so can you give me the basic syntax of an XPath?
In XPath, there is a two XPath actually, absolute XPath and relative XPath. So in absolute XPath, we use a single slash, and it is a complete XPath, like a complete path from root node to the desired node. And in relative XPath, there is a path from the any in between node or preceding node to the desired node.
Okay. Yeah. So which one do you use, absolute or relative?
I usually use a relative XPath because it doesn't get failed easily. Absolute XPath is gets failed sometimes.
Okay. For example, there is an element and I don't have this one ID or name attribute, so I have to use XPath only. Okay. So for example, there is an attribute XYZ, okay, and its value is really huge.
Okay.
Okay. So how do you write XPath for such using such attributes, and if the value is really huge and you are able to identify even a part, there is a part using which you can identify the XPath. So how will you write XPath in that way?
For that we'll use XPath, and there is a method starts with. So okay, in that method we have to pass just initial 3 to 4 characters are enough that are matching, and we can find out the element.
Okay, so what other options do we have?
Also we have the contents method, and also we have the text method. Using that we find out the links, and also we have and or options in XPath.
Okay. If I want to press F5 function key F5, how can I send it?
We can send it through actions class. There is action class in Selenium, and using that we can press that actions dot send keys, and after that keys dot F5.
Okay. And how can I right click? I do perform a right click option.
Right click is also we can perform using the action class only. There is a method context click. Using that we can perform the right click.
Okay. So how do you handle synchronization issues?
Synchronizations we use the weights in the Selenium, like implicit weights and explicit weight.
Can you just explain me what is an implicit weight and what is explicit weight?
Implicit weight is a weight in Selenium, and it is a global weight. It is applicable to all the web elements are present, and it is not it is applicable to single element, and it will wait until the maximum timeout which is we have saved. It will wait until the maximum timeout has not happened.
Okay.
Yes, and explicit wait is a wait in which it will wait until maximum timeout has not passed, and also we have to provide the expected condition. So it will wait until the expected condition is not met.
Okay.
And it is yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it is element specific. It is not a global wait.
Okay, so which one is more advantageous and why?
Explicit wait has more advantages. So implicit wait is also have the advantages, but we can use if our single element is not loading properly. In that case, we can use the explicit wait.
Sorry, can you repeat it once again?
If our single element is taking too much time to load on the page, in that case, we can use the explicit wait.
Okay. So in implicit wait, will it wait for that particular time period, or will it wait for a particular element to load?
it will wait for particular time period. If element is loaded in between that time period, then it will proceed for the next. I will repeat, if element is not loaded, then it will wait until the maximum timeout, and after that it will the throw. Yeah.
Okay, can you explain me fluent wait?
Yes, ma'am. Fluent wait is a just like explicit wait, but there is two things are advanced in fluent wait. That is one is the interval time, and second one is we can handle the exception using the fluent wait.
Okay, so have you used fluent wait in your project?
Not that much. I will use. Usually, I use implicit and explicit wait only.
Okay. And maximum, which one do you use, implicit or explicit?
Implicit, I use at the beginning of my script. I use implicit wait, like 10 millisecond or something, so that it will applicable to all web elements. And explicit wait I use whenever required.
Okay. So when will I get stale element exception?
If there is a button on the page, like I'm just giving a scenario. If there is a one button on the web element, on the page, and if we are clicking on that button, and after that new tab is opening on the browser, and then we switch to that tab, and when we came back to our parent tab, like home page, and if you're trying to locate that button, then that element, that time stale element is exception is there.
So what exactly is happening? What is triggering the stale element exception?
Like sometimes, no, sorry.
See, your scenario is perfect, but what exactly happened in the background? What happened that this particular exception got triggered? Because initially I was able to access it, but once I moved to the other tab and get back to this tab, then I lost the access to that. Even if I can see, I could not access it. This is your scenario.
Yes.
That is right. But what exactly is happening?
Actually,
why
actually, our driver is not able to find out that element on the DOM, the HTML page.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So coming to Cucumber, what are the? Can you just explain me the framework in a Cucumber?
Actually, ma'am, I haven't worked on the Cucumber.
Oh, sorry. You have worked on TestNg.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, so you have no knowledge on Cucumber?
No, ma'am. Actually, just sound knowledge. I haven't worked on that.
Okay, no problem.
Like it is just behavior-driven development, just to
Right. Okay.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's fine.
yes.
That's fine. So can you give me? Yeah. So can you give me the test annotations that you use? The annotations that you use in your TestNg framework?
Yes, ma'am. Annotations I usually use test annotation to trigger our test cases, and before test, after test, before suit, after suit, before class, after class. These annotations. Also, at the rate annotation is data provider annotation, parameter annotation.
So what is the difference between? Sorry, go ahead. Actually, your voice is breaking a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Now clear, ma'am?
Yeah, I think it's better now.
Yeah. Data provide is annotation is there. Parameter is annotation is there. Listeners annotation is also there.
Okay, so in my test, if I have multiple classes, so when all will the before test get executed? I have a test, and inside the test I have multiple classes. So can you explain me if I have one before test method and a before class method?
Yeah.
So how is the flow going to be?
Yes. So first before test will be executed first. After that before class will be executed, and after that one by one tests will be executed.
Okay. So if I have multiple classes, then?
Multiple classes, then before each class, the first before class will be executed, and after that one by one the tests will be executed.
Okay. So I have two tests, and I want to run the second test only if the first test gets passed. So how can I link those two?
Sorry, ma'am, I didn't understand. Can you?
Yeah, I have two tests.
Okay.
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 Test A and test B.
Yeah.
Only if test A passes, I
Okay.
want to execute test B. Otherwise, I don't want to execute test B.
Okay.
So how can I create that link?
Okay. So for that, ma'am, in Selenium there is a attribute which is depends on method. So if we use that attribute and we mention the method name, like in our case test A, then if test A is executed, then only test B will be executed according to the status.
Okay. And how can I prioritize tests?
There is attribute priority. Using that we can mention the priority, and according to our priority, test will be executed.
So what are the attributes? Can you just let me know what are the attributes? What other attributes are there in this stage?
Yes, ma'am. There is a priority attributes. There is a group attribute. Then we have the data provider attribute. Then depends on method attribute, timeout attributes. These are the attributes, ma'am.
So what is the use of data provider attribute?
For doing the data driven testing, we use the data provider attribute. Like we first.
So you use that in your project?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So you pass test data. How do you pass test data into your this one?
If our test data is smaller, like 3 to 4 rows or 5 rows, then we directly mention that data in our test method. And if it is big data, like big data, then we maintain that data in the Excel sheet. And in our test data method, we read that meta, store it in some array, and then we use it in our test cases.
Okay, so why do you hardcode data in your test? Is it right approach?
No, ma'am. Actually, we don't have to hardcode the data inside test.
But you told if we have less data, directly give it in the test, right?
So, if it is a less data, then we actually not hardcode, but we store it in properties file, like, and then we read from there.
Okay, so can you just quickly explain the framework, the complete framework of your application automation?
Yes, ma'am. In a framework, first we have 3 packages. First one is a page object. We are using my framework is hybrid framework. It is a combination of page object model, then data driven if required, and TestNg. So these 3 frameworks we are using in hybrid framework. So there are 3 packages. First one is a page object package, where we create all the page object classes for our application. Like if we have 10 to 12, like 30 pages, then we create the 30 page object classes, and in that class we identify all the web elements of the page, and also we create the methods to take the required action on the web elements. And after that we have the second package, which is a test case package. In that we create all the test cases, and also there is a base class in test cases. So inside base class we create all the common methods like login, logout, tear down, take screenshot. All the methods we create in our base class. And third one is a utility package. In utility package we create the utility for reading and writing the Excel sheet, writing the properties file. Like this, like that utility we create in utility package. Then we have multiple folders in our framework, like drivers folder where we maintain our drivers, screenshot folder where we maintain all the screenshot, reports folder where we generate all the reports. Then we have test data folder where we maintain our test data like Excel sheet or properties file. Then we have the pom.xml where we manage all the dependencies. And last one we have the testng.xml from which we trigger our test cases and configure our suite.
Okay, sounds good.